some reason. And notice how quickly those safety crews were there. The Hawaiian being rolled away on one end of the course. Meanwhile, on the top end, here is Ray Beadle out of that car. Carl Olson standing by to try to get a word with Ray Beadle, who really rode down a hot one. Here's Carl.
That's all right.
What happened, Raymond?
Well, we had a bearing hurt that last round, and we sanded it, and we knew we was going to have to change it this round, so I guess he went ahead and let the rod go. We thought it'd be good for one more round. We had to wait up there a little extra, waiting on rolling.
How come the engine wouldn't shut off down here?
Evidently, the fuel shut-off must have slipped off the cable or something. They switched cables, so evidently it must have slipped off.
So we're looking at a new motor for the final.
We were planning on putting a fresh one in for the final anyway.
And you're looking at Ray Beadle, who makes it into the finals here at Columbus, Ohio. The Blue Max with the new engine will be outfitted and ready to roar. He'll be running against the Orange Baron, Gary Bergen, as we move to the finals of this great national championship, National Hot Rod Association event. Bergen versus Beadle coming up. You're in the pits of Ray Beadle here at Columbus, Ohio in this National Drag Championship event, one of 11 each year. And it's a critical time for Ray Beadle. They're changing the engine on the Blue Max, and it has to be right by milliseconds, or it's all for naught today. Meanwhile, the engine on his competitor. This is Bergen. The man, Gary Bergen, who's won one national championship event, making final adjustments, and in the pits, a large crowd, unusual, but what we see a lot of in this kind of drag competition. Before we see those funny cars, take a look at this pro stock competition. This is Lombardo driving one of those pro stocks, extensively reworked. They run with carburetors, they use gasoline. That's Bob Glidden, who has won 9 straight times. The last time he was defeated was right here in Columbus, Ohio, a year ago. Lombardo has squared off against Bob Glidden 6 times and been defeated by him each time. Bob Glidden seeking his 24th major crown of the National Hot Rod Association. There's the Grumpy Jenkins Camaro nearest to you. Bob Glidden on the outside, ready for the start. Remember, Lombardo was a whole shot expert. He really comes off that light, and he does. Pulls away, he has the advantage. Lombardo's out in front, they're even. Glidden is coming back at the line. Glidden wins it. Bob Glidden pulls it off after trailing at the start. Let's look at it again and replay, Carl.
There's that patented Lombardo hole shot, and as they come out here, you can see that he's amassing about a 1-car lead right off the starting line, but the Bob Glidden power makes it up, and he's got the car length advantage down at the finish.
And Etta and Bob Glidden just keep rolling along. Meanwhile, the heavyweights are in their final moments of preparation. This is Richard Tharp's crew working on his top fuel dragster. Carl Olson is standing by with the man, Richard Tharp.
Every time Richard Tharp races Don Garlits, it's a classic. How do you feel about this one?
It's going to be a classic. It's going to be good. You know, if you're going to get beat, you always want to get beat by him because, he's been my idol for a long time, and he still is. He's the greatest.
Sounds a little bit like a defeatist attitude.
Oh, no, he's got to be real good out there. We're going to get him. It's our turn.
Working for milliseconds in the infinite. The Garlits crew trying to find that extra advantage. Don Garlits, former world champion, preparing for this summit meeting with Tharp. Carl Olson's over there right now with Don Garlits, Big Daddy himself.
Don, we came by earlier and everything looked very leisurely, and all of a sudden we came back and you were in the middle of an engine change. Can you tell us what happened?
Well, we were just doing our normal routine, running the rod bearings for the final, and the boys had cleaned the pan and brought the pan back with the sludge in the bottom, and I run my hand down in there, and there was some metallic feeling. I knew something was wrong, and even though the rods looked good, we went for a main in, and sure enough, it spun number 4 main. I guess we've broken the crank in the motor. And so we quickly had to go with an engine change. Now, this engine has been run. It has run real good. It's run 244 miles an hour, 6 flat, and won the Bradenton WCS meeting and was maintenance and put in the trailer. Now, we won't have a chance to warm it. It will be cold, but it should run all right.
Garlits versus Tharp, that's upcoming. But right now, it's the funny car finale from Columbus, Ohio. You're looking at the Orange Baron from Stanton, California, Gary Bergen, and there's the Blue Max. ready to go once again with the veteran Ray Beadle out of Dallas, Texas. How do you see it, Carl Olson?
Well, you just can't call a race like this. They've both had trouble, but they've also both run good.
They're off. Bergen away. Beadle comes back. Bergen throwing out a lot of smoke. Bergen wins it. The 1976 national champion, runner-up at Scenaire in Montreal a year ago. Victorious. His crew is ecstatic. Let's watch the replay here. On the start, a little bit sideways, and then gathering it back up. A lot of smoke out from underneath the car of Bergen. The Beadle car on the inside. Remember, they made an engine change. Apparently, they just didn't have enough time, and Bergen comes home the winner. Here's Carl.
6:49 wasn't the quickest run that was made here this weekend, but it was good enough to win. What kind of trouble did you encounter out there?
Well, towards the afternoon, of course, like we said before, the heat of the day makes the track get somewhat slippery, you know, and it makes it hard to make horsepower. And the track just gets awful tricky. You know, we smoked the tires twice.
It's good enough to get to the finish line first. I guess that's what counts. Congratulations, Gary.
Thank you, Carl.
One of the biggest wins of his career for Gary Bergen. Winning here in Columbus, Ohio. A long time between wins. Here it comes. Garlitz is ready to go against Richard Tharp. This is the one we've all been waiting for. The nitro-burning, top fuel, ultimate quarter-mile acceleration vehicles. There you see Richard Tharp ready to take on the legend. Tharp in the number 8 Candies and Hughes machine. And there he is, Don Garlitz at the line. Great lead. Out in front, Garlitz loses it for a moment. Tharp gets sideways. Garlitz wins it. Don Garlitz pulls it off. What a race. Marginal traction from almost the moment they came out of the gate. There you saw that white machine sideways. Then, same thing happens to Tharp, and Don Garlitz wins.
6:11 at 237 miles an hour. It looks like the spare engine worked just fine, Don.
Yeah, it shook me a little bit. That's where it lost some of the time, but it run good in the middle of the course.
I know you've won an awful lot of these races. Is it just as good every time?
Yeah, and this is especially good because, you know, I've had a lot of bad luck here at Columbus. I've never won a race here, and it's really a thrill to do good here because I have so many fans in this part of the country, and they've always cheered for me, and I've always let them down, so maybe finally I came through once. Congratulations, Don. Back to you, Ken.
Thank you, Carl. As you can see, there were thunderheads gathering to greet Don Garlitz when he came across the line to win this masterful performance, one of his best in the 25 years he's been in drag racing. He created his own lightning for sure, and we're going to get both here in just a moment. Earlier, they talked about the fact that power was the story of this kind of racing. Actually, they're three-piece. One for sure is power. The other's a guy named Parks, Wally Parks, who has made this some of the most exciting racing there is in motorsport. And three, people. People now running for cover, but as big a crowd as we've ever seen at any motorsports event. For the national championships at Columbus, Ohio, and Carl Olson, I'm Squire getting out of the